Hey everybody, Joe Brady coming to you from Dingman's Falls near Dingman's Ferry, Pennsylvania. I've talked recently a lot about not getting stuck with a single camera system just because you already have some lenses for it. Like every other tool, each type and size of camera has its benefits and limitations. So it all comes down to what you want the camera to do. When you read camera reviews, you often see a list of pros and cons. Now, if you have very specific needs, this can be handy, but there's a lot of things about a camera that are not in the specs or in the pros and cons that you need to consider, and I'll get to that in a minute. Now, today I have with me a Panasonic Lumix G100. It's a pretty small and compact system that is positioned as a vlogging, travel, and casual camera. It uses a 20 megapixel micro four thirds sensor, which is a smaller sensor than full frame or APS-C cameras. But that smaller sensor has some benefits as well. Namely, it gives you a lot more reach with your lenses. For example, on a camera like this, if you have a lens that's marked as say a 50 to 200, that lens becomes a 100 to 400 when compared to a full frame camera. So that means if you're photographing nature, wildlife, birds, you're getting much more reach to reach those. But that's not what I'm after today. I want to show you what this camera is really good for. So why do I have this camera in my hand? Well, we actually chose this camera for Diane because she wanted something that would do the things that her iPhone doesn't do that well, both with video and with stills. Now, without going into the full list of capabilities, for example, being able to switch from program mode to aperture to shutter priority and have full manual control is something that a dedicated camera does much better than a phone does. It also has exposure compensation on auto mode, which is very simple. It has a touch screen for quick focusing, and the system includes focus tracking of both moving objects and people, where it will actually focus on the eye and track the eye as the person moves around the frame. Now, we initially got this camera with its kit lens, which is a 12 to 32 millimeter, which sounds really wide, but again, remember there's a 2x factor on these lenses, which makes this lens a 24 to 64, which is pretty much a standard kind of all-purpose lens that you're probably going to take most of your pictures with. In addition to the kit lens, we just ordered the 45-150, which again is the equivalent of a 90 to 300 lens on a full frame camera. The beauty is this new lens is about this long, it's 5 inches long, and only weighs 7 ounces. The entire combination of this camera with the kit lens and the telephoto that I just mentioned actually comes in at a little under $800. So will this camera replace the iPhone? Absolutely not. Just like any tool, it has specific capabilities that make it a better choice in some solutions, and that's how you should choose your camera. So what are those really important things that I mentioned earlier? Well, since pretty much every camera is going to capture really nice photos, at least as long as you spend a little time learning how to use it, perhaps the most important aspect of the camera that's right for you is how comfortable it feels. If it feels good in your hand and it makes sense with the physical layout, you're going to find yourself reaching for it when a great photo presents itself. And that's when a camera is a great choice for you. Before you get any camera, get it in your hands and look through it. If it excites you, you might just have a winner. Now, I'm going to walk around the park and shoot some stills and video today with the Lumix G100 to see how well it does. Then I'll have to give it back to Diane. Maybe if I'm nice to her, she'll let me borrow it sometimes. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you online again soon.